Hello! This week I want to talk about my honest thoughts on living in Los Angeles. It's been 3 years that I've been here. I wanted to live here for years before I actually moved out here. I thought we should dive into all the things. I'll give you a little bit of backstory on how I moved here, tips on living in Los Angeles, different neighborhoods and my opinions on them, whether or not I think it's worth it. So hopefully this will be a helpful video if you're thinking about moving out here. A lot of people have asked me tips over the years, so I thought I'd put them all in one place. So let's get into it. I grew up in New York City. I went to the University of Miami for college, and then I ended up in Tampa for a little bit post-grad. I was very much trying to find myself. I couldn't find a full-time job for a very long time. I decided I would just start using the skills that I have and doing a little freelance here or there. It felt like a very stagnant period of my life. I was nannying for a while, and I was just applying and applying and applying. Prayed about it for months, and every time I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, do I keep applying on jobs? Do I do this? Do I do that? I kept coming to the conclusion that I needed to go to LA. But I also was just like, not in the financial position to move across country. I have a background in filmmaking, like that's what I went to school for, but I also grew up acting. And at the time I felt like, well, maybe I should look for like an acting job. So I found one, I booked my first acting job, and it was so silly. I was working on like a pirate ship, like a Halloween show, and it was just very ridiculous. That experience did show me in a lot of ways. Even though I loved it, actually, I loved like the preparation for it. Like I loved doing the rehearsals and just having room to play. I just realized I actually don't even think that I want to be an actor anymore. Like there's so many aspects of the process that I was like, yes, this is a very small scenario of these things are happening. I just don't think that this is the life for me. But still, I felt like I should move to LA. So I saved up all my money from that show, and I was like, I'm moving. I picked a date. I booked a one-way ticket. I was like, I'm going. My first place that I lived in LA was a pod share in Venice. I lived there for 3 months. It's not an experience I would recommend to anyone. There were like 2 adjacent houses, but it was like 25 people in one house. And there's like a room for the men, there's a room for the women. I think there was like a few different rooms for each. And then there was like a room full of like these little like short half closets in there. That's like where you put all your belongings. And your space was basically like an upper bunk, and it was like enclosed, like had a little, I just remember so many times like being in that little space, just like editing my little videos, like, God told me to move to LA. So many aspects of my life now today that I'm like, wow, God sees me. Because I remember being in that place and being like, I have no idea how any of this is gonna work out. And now like being able to fully support myself, like having my own space, like having a car. I love the roommate, but like it just feels so special. So anyway, but it was a long road to get here. I didn't have a full-time job for like a full year while I was here, a little over a year. After I decided that I could not live in that pod anymore, I was like, I have to look for apartments. I remember it was literally the last day before I was about to go home to New York. If I didn't have a place, I probably wasn't gonna come back. I found an apartment. I ended up just applying and then moved in there. It was like a studio. It was not an easy walk to get there at all. I would definitely recommend, like, if you're looking to move to LA, save up enough money to do it. And that's easy to say when I know that at least the position that I was at, I just so clearly felt like there were so few opportunities where I was. But I do think part of it is this like fear that there's not enough and that whatever you're gonna build is not gonna be enough. Whereas I feel like even having like $5,000 to move, I literally had just enough money to like pay for the first month's rent and like down payment for that place that I lived in. And I remember that time I was like spending $35 on groceries. I feel like everybody glamorizes LA, and I don't even feel like my story is that abnormal, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people spend a lot more time in that position than honestly even I did. And I have to say, like, I also found a church community out here and have made such a beautiful community of friends and reconnected with friends out here, and it's just been honestly really special. Like I wouldn't trade that for anything, trade the relationships that I made for anything. So that's literally priceless. And the experiences that I had and the way that they grew me, I would not have chosen them. But you know what? Like I needed that. Being in a space where you're like, I have absolutely no idea how I'm gonna get out of this hole, and then seeing God work and seeing your own commitment pay off and just belief pay off. Being able to like live life in a completely different way and have seen the whole process, that just makes you fearless in a big way. But that's the origin story. That's my villain origin story. Okay, let's talk about tips for living in Los Angeles. I didn't have a car for like 2 years living out here, which is crazy, by the way. I don't know how I did that. Are you able to? Yes. Would I recommend it? No. But it is possible that you can live in walkable neighborhoods. So like, let's talk about neighborhoods, because I know that was one of the things that was so confusing to me when I was moving to LA. It's a huge place. There's so many different areas that you can live in, and you really have to think about like what it is that you want out of your life, right? So if we're thinking about like the most central location, like I initially moved to Venice for like 3 months, but then I was like, I want to live in a central place, so I moved to Hollywood. Would I recommend living in Hollywood? Not really. You're gonna be able to find affordable apartments. There's a reason they're affordable. It's a chaotic place. It's a little hardcore. I lived in Hollywood for a year, and I lived in West Hollywood. And those are very central locations. Honestly, you want to think about like, are you somebody that is going to need to be near the airport often? Make sure that you're living in a reasonable distance from the airport. If you're living in West Hollywood or Hollywood, your Uber to LAX is probably going to be around like maybe $30 to $40. Something to think about. You know, these things add up. Like there's the east side of LA, so that's like Koreatown, Silver Lake, Los Feliz, and it's actually really nice over there. It's very artsy, it's very cool. You could get some cool different apartments. It's a different like vibe. Everyone's like wardrobes thrifted, but it's also far. Like it's probably gonna be an hour, over an hour to get to LAX, which is basically in like the Westchester area, so that's more on the west side. So think about like LAX as being here, and above it are your Santa Monica, Venice, everything that's on the west side. You go upwards, it's like Malibu. And then below the airport is kind of like El Segundo, Manhattan Beach. And those are like really nice areas. I feel like more families live out there. You definitely need a car. Beverly Hills is also a pretty central location. You just have to kind of work to find the more affordable apartments out there. It can honestly be kind of tough to find apartments in LA, because I feel like the best ones are sort of like, if you know, like if you happen to come across it. I found luck by like driving through neighborhoods. I've always used apartments.com or Westside Rentals. There's other neighborhoods I didn't talk about. I would come out here to see some places if you're able. Facebook groups are a really smart way to find a place to live. I had luck with a Facebook group I was already a part of that like wasn't for apartments, but there are tons of groups for different neighborhoods, or like for women looking for apartments in LA, or things of that nature. You obviously have to be careful. It is like a genuine route that a lot of people use. Yes. Oh, literally the perfect amount. I'll talk all my smack about the east side of LA, but my coffee's from the east side. It's from La Mille. I also didn't talk about downtown. There's downtown Arts District. A lot of people like to live downtown. They have like nice newer apartments there. I just think it's a chaotic place and it's kind of scary personally, but there are really nice areas of it. There are. It's kind of Hollywood-esque, you know? I'm gonna be so real. No. Let's sit with that for a moment. It is very expensive. I love a big city, of course, because there's so much opportunity in big cities. There's just so much to see and to do. I have absolutely no regrets about like being out here, because the people that I've met, can't imagine doing life without them. Obsessed. Thank you to the younger version of me for making the crazy irrational decisions that got me here, for the people that I've met. Period. End of sentence. That being said, you do have to really think about like what's important to you in your life. And also I think something that I'm coming to realize is that like life, God willing, is so much longer than we think, and it is okay to move somewhere for just a year. It's okay to move somewhere for just 2 years, for just 6 months. It's actually your life. It's your one wild and precious life, as Mary Oliver says, and you should do what's on your heart. If you're gonna take a leap, it should be with faith that I have this dream and this vision for the future, even if it's not perfect. But I feel that this is for me, and I feel that this step that I'm taking is actually a step on the way, and it's not like a step off course. I don't want to live with any regrets, personally. No. 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 That's no in several different languages. Have something positive that you're clinging to in the process. You can get a little crazy, even though the weather is so beautiful and stunning and amazing, and there's so many good things about LA, and there's so many good restaurants and coffee shops and people fun. Hikes and everywhere is beautiful things. Everywhere is beautiful people. And if you keep coming to the same conclusion, go. Run your race. Go forth. Do it. Go after it. Because no one else is going to do it for you, baby. It's worth it. It is your one wild and precious life. That's my thought. Okay. Hope that's helpful. I do believe, even though it's not the perfect or the permanent place for me, it has been such a beautiful season of my life. I don't know how long, how many more chapters my LA season has to it, but I'm here for it. I also have just the most beautiful friends out here who make my life so full and lovely, and I can't imagine doing it without them, genuinely. And also, come on. I'm exhausted of winter hearing about it. I'm exhausted hearing about winter. I'm not even experiencing it. Imagine? Couldn't be me, baby. Bye.